Welcome everybody to the very first edition of the web series Live at FaceRack. Live right here in my very own studio, we're going to teach you secrets of the pros today, starting with parallel compression or parallel processing. What is it and why is it good for your mix? Parallel compression is quite simply taking a signal, duplicating it, running both the signals to a bus, and compressing one of the two signals and mixing the wet and dry signals together to get a fatter result. This is commonly used on kick drums where you want more kick, snare drums where you want more crack, and generally anything that you want to be fatter without blowing up the mix and clipping. We're going to get started with Propellerhead's Reason 10. So Propellerhead's Reason is going to be different creating parallel compression than it is in Pro Tools or Logic. Some would argue that it's easier, but I'm not exactly sure how it works, so I don't quite trust it all the way because you create a parallel channel and I don't know if that parallel channel is compressed or uncompressed or if it's just making a duplicate. So here we have our basic kick pattern. Now we're going to go up to the audio track in our rack. We're going to right click on the colored mix track and we're going to go down and select create a parallel channel. We're not going to dive a whole lot into mixing as that's another animal, but generally when you create the parallel track, you want to get rid of any extra frequencies you're not using. So I'm going to create a high cut, bring that down so we can only hear the low end out of the parallel kick. For the original track, we're going to go over to about 2K in our EQ and we're going to raise that to get some character. Alright, so now we're going to make this a little more authentic by compressing the first signal we ran into Reason, and then we're going to mix the first kick track with the uncompressed duplicate mix track that we created. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the original track now and we're going to add that compressor like you would in any other DAW. The general guideline for compression for a kick is anywhere between 46 and 80 attack. And then I like to go over to release and I'll set that between 70 and 80 usually. And then don't be afraid to squash this down, really get at least 6 dB of compression out of it. So go ahead and take the threshold down until you get about 6 dB of compression. So now you can hear the difference between the two tracks. And that is it for Propellerhead Reason. Alright, so here we are in Pro Tools now. We're going to do parallel compression here. I've exported the same kick pattern and we're going to throw it onto a track like we did earlier. Go ahead and duplicate that track. We're going to go to one of the two tracks and add a stock compressor at about the same settings as before. So there we go, we got about 6 decibels of compression. So now we're going to go ahead and send both of these on a bus out to an auxiliary track. Hold shift, click both the tracks, go up into the first send window, hold command and shift and select a bus. This will apply the bus to both those tracks simultaneously. I have named this bus PC1 for parallel compression. Now we need an auxiliary track. Go ahead and go to Track, Create, New, Mono or Stereo Auxiliary Track. It is usually best to do kick drums and basses and things of that nature in mono. And then we want to go ahead and make the input of that auxiliary track the bus send from the other two tracks. Before we start mixing our wet and dry signals together on the parallel sends, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the dry track and mix it with the wet track. Once you get a suitable taste out of these two tracks, we're going to go ahead to the PC or bus that you used, and we're going to use the faders to send to our auxiliary. Now we're going to go ahead and mix the parallel bus sends on the auxiliary track, and we're going to get that parallel compression mix that we've been working for. Also, by mixing on the parallel sends like this, you're not really going to blow up your main master fader if you do it correctly, but you are going to get the result of a thicker, fuller sound. And now you can hear the difference between our two tracks. Alright, now here we are in Logic Pro 10. So I've imported the same track. Now we're going to hit this Duplicate Track and Settings button. Hold down Command or Alt, click and drag it down to duplicate it on the second track. Now I'm going to go ahead on the first track and add a stock compressor like we've done before, and we're going to dial in the same settings as last time. So once again, that's about a 6:1 ratio. We're going to set attack anywhere between 46 and 80. And then we're going to set release to anywhere between 70 and 80. And then we're going to bring our threshold down so that we get about 6 decibels of compression on our meter. In this case, I've squashed it a little harder. We've got about 9 or 10. Now we have our wet and dry mix, and we're ready to send those to a bus and mix them on the parallel channel. In Logic, it's pretty straightforward. Go over to the mix window, and under the send track, you want to click send and pick an available bus. Then you want to go to your duplicate channel and send to the exact same bus. Logic will automatically create an auxiliary channel that you're sending your signals to. Now that you have your signals busing to the same auxiliary channel, you can mix them to taste right there on each channel mixer. Next, to send, you will see a little dial that you can click on and pull up, and that is your send amount, just like we did in Pro Tools. Mix the wet and dry signals to taste and enjoy. Now you can hear the difference between the soloed out main channel and the full parallel mix that you have created. Now let's head back over to Pro Tools, and I'm going to show you that extra special pro tip about parallel compressing different tracks together to make them sound fatter and bigger throughout the mix. In this example, we've got a song called Sweeter that I have already mixed, and I'm going to show you in this example how I needed to bring the background vocals out more by parallel compressing them or parallel mixing them against the guitar track. Why the guitar track, you say? Because the guitar track is crispy and vibrant, and you want to parallel mix the vocals against a more vibrant track so that it comes out and it shines more. So for this example, I'm just going to show you what it looks like when I mute the parallel channel I created and when I unmute it, and you can hear the noticeable difference in volume. So just to go over how this works, it works just like we did with the kick drum, except in this example, you have a guitar track or multiple guitar tracks. They are bussed to an auxiliary track. Now you're taking the vocals and you're going to bus them to the same track. And then you're going to mix on the parallel faders to taste how you would want that to come out in your mix. But that is it for today. Today is not about mixing Today is about parallel compression. How do you use it? What is it for? And how can it make your mix sound bigger? This video tutorial is designed to be as simple as possible so the average, everyday home studio user can take advantage of this technique. If you like what I've shown you so far, please subscribe and give me the thumbs up on YouTube, and stay tuned for the next edition of Live at FaceRack. Thank you and good night.